If you're over 60 and dealing with itching, dry skin, or poor sleep at night, this isn't aging. It's a daily bathroom mistake. For decades, we were taught that staying clean means scrubbing more, washing longer, and turning the water hotter, that the more aggressive you are in the bathroom, the healthier you must be. But in my years of clinical practice, and from what I've seen again and again in aging bodies, that belief is quietly damaging people every single day. There was a physician in Japan, Dr. Shigaki Hinohara, who lived past 100 and treated patients well into his final years. His philosophy was radically simple, and almost nobody in modern medicine talks about it anymore. He believed that healthy aging is not about constantly attacking the body, but about protecting the body's natural defenses, not overpowering them, not stripping them away, protecting them. And nowhere is this more misunderstood than with your skin. Here's the silent threat no one warns you about. After 60, what feels clean and refreshing in the bathroom may actually be weakening your body every single day. Quietly, progressively, without pain at first. Your skin is not just a covering, it's not decoration, it's not cosmetic. It is a living, intelligent organ. I want you to picture aging skin like a protective coat of armor. When we're younger, that armor is thick, flexible, and resilient. It can take hits, it can repair itself. But with age, that armor thins, micro cracks form, the surface weakens. And once that armor is compromised, even small attacks, heat, soap, friction, start causing real damage. This is where modern hygiene culture gets it wrong. We've been sold the idea that long, hot showers are self-care, that aggressive soap use is cleanliness, that the squeaky clean feeling means health. But I need you to understand something critical. After 60, your body does not respond to extremes the way it used to. This is where I agree deeply with Dr. Andrew Weil's balance-based approach to health. Real health, especially later in life, is not about intensity. It's about harmony, about respecting the fact that aging systems become more sensitive, not more resilient. The skin is one of the first systems where this sensitivity shows up. Hot water, strong soaps, daily full-body washing. These habits don't just dry the skin. They trigger inflammation. They disrupt sleep with itching. They increase infection risk. They quietly exhaust an immune system that no longer rebounds the way it once did. And the most dangerous part? Most people think this is just aging. They assume the itching is normal, the dryness is cosmetic, the cracking is harmless. The redness is unavoidable. It's not. This single bathroom mistake doesn't just affect how you look. It affects how well you sleep, how often you get infections, how inflamed your body becomes, and how fast your systems wear down. I've seen patients whose health declined not because of disease, but because their protective barriers were slowly destroyed by habits they thought were helping them. So, in this video, I want to show you 3 things. First, why aging skin reacts differently after 60 and why the old rules no longer apply. Second, the common bathroom habit you need to stop immediately if you care about longevity. And third, the exact shower and skin protocol that supports your body instead of fighting it. This is not about vanity. This is about defense. This is about protecting what protects you. And once you understand that, everything about how you care for your body, starting in the bathroom, will change. For many people, the hottest part of the day is not the afternoon sun. It's the shower. Warmth becomes comfort. Heat becomes relief. And over time, hotter water starts to feel like the only thing that truly relaxes stiff joints, tired muscles, and an aging body. What's rarely understood is that this comforting sensation is also a biological stressor, especially after 60. As skin ages, it undergoes structural changes that most people never feel happening. One of the most important is the quiet decline of ceramides and natural oils. These substances act like sealant. They keep moisture in, they keep irritants out, they preserve flexibility and resilience. With age, their production slows. The skin becomes thinner, less elastic, less forgiving. Heat accelerates this process. Hot water dissolves lipids. It doesn't just rinse them away, it breaks down the very components that hold the skin barrier together. This increases something called transepidermal water loss, where moisture escapes faster than the body can replace it. The sensation right after a hot shower can feel pleasant, clean, loose, relaxed. But what's happening underneath is loss. The easiest way to understand this is to imagine the skin as a brick wall. The bricks are your skin cells. The mortar is the lipid barrier that holds everything together. Hot water doesn't crack the bricks, it dissolves the mortar. At first, the wall still stands, but over time, gaps appear, weak points form, the structure becomes vulnerable. I once saw this play out with a woman named Carol, 73 years old. She showered every morning, long showers, very hot water, no skin disease, no major medical conditions, but she lived with constant itching. Cracked skin along her arms and legs, small wounds that healed slowly. Nothing else in her routine had changed, only the cumulative effect of heat, day after day, year after year. This is why aging skin reacts differently. It's not weaker because of neglect. It's more fragile because its protective chemistry has changed. When heat is added repeatedly, the damage compounds. Moisture loss increases. Inflammation rises. The skin sends distress signals that the nervous system interprets as itching, burning, or tightness. And because these changes happen gradually, they're easy to normalize. The body adapts, until it can't. In later chapters, the connections between this barrier damage and immune stress will become clearer. But even here, at the level of heat alone, the message is simple and unsettling. What once felt soothing now accelerates breakdown. And this is only the first layer of the problem. If protecting your body instead of wearing it down matters to you, subscribe here. This channel is about aging with defense, not damage. Heat weakens the wall, soap finishes the job. Modern hygiene culture treats soap like protection, when in reality, it is a chemical tool meant to be used selectively. On aging skin, constant exposure becomes a form of erosion. The skin is not sterile, and it was never designed to be. It lives in partnership with trillions of beneficial microorganisms that form what's known as the skin microbiome. This invisible ecosystem trains the immune system, suppresses harmful bacteria, and keeps inflammation under control. With age, that ecosystem becomes more fragile. Strong cleansers don't distinguish between harmful organisms and protective ones. They strip indiscriminately. Each full-body wash resets the skin into a vulnerable state, forcing an already slower immune system to rebuild defenses from scratch. In younger bodies, this recovery happens quickly. In older bodies, it lingers. The result is low-grade, chronic inflammation that never fully resolves, redness, sensitivity, rashes that come and go, areas of skin that seem irritated for no obvious reason. Aging immune systems are not overreactive, they are exhausted. And repeated chemical disruption adds to that burden. Think of it like power washing old wood. At first it looks clean, bright, renewed, but with each pass, more of the protective surface is removed. The wood becomes exposed, fragile, prone to cracking. The same thing happens to skin. I remember a man named Henry, 68 years old, disciplined, clean, methodical. He used strong soap from head to toe every day, believing it kept him healthy. Over time, he developed recurring rashes that no prescription seemed to permanently fix. The skin was inflamed, reactive, and unable to settle. Nothing was wrong with his immune system. It was overwhelmed. Certain areas of the body do need cleansing because of sweat, moisture, and bacterial buildup. Other areas rely on their natural oils and microbial balance to stay calm and intact. When everything is treated the same, the system loses its internal logic. What makes this especially deceptive is timing. The irritation doesn't always appear immediately. Sometimes it shows up hours later, sometimes at night as itching, sometimes days later as redness or flaking. The cause feels disconnected from the effect, so the habit continues. And over years, this repeated disruption trains the skin to exist in a constant state of low-level alarm. Inflammation becomes the background noise of the body. And when inflammation becomes constant, aging accelerates quietly, system by system. The surface of the skin may be where it starts, but it never ends there. Dry skin is often dismissed as a surface issue, an inconvenience, a cosmetic annoyance, something to tolerate, cover up, or ignore. That misunderstanding comes at a cost. The skin is not passive. It is one of the body's largest immune organs, constantly communicating with the nervous system, the inflammatory system, and the bloodstream. When it is intact, it acts as a filter. When it is compromised, it becomes a gateway. As moisture disappears, microscopic cracks form. They may not bleed, they may not be visible, but they are enough to change how the body responds to the world. Through these cracks, irritants enter, bacteria gain access. The immune system is forced to stay alert, even at rest. Inflammatory signals increase, not dramatically, but persistently. This is the kind of inflammation that doesn't cause a fever or obvious illness. It simmers quietly. It drains energy. It interferes with sleep. It slows repair. Aging bodies are especially sensitive to this type of immune stress. The response is slower. The shutdown takes longer. The recovery is incomplete. One way to visualize this is to imagine a fence around a property. When the boards are intact, the boundary is clear. When boards go missing, intruders don't need to break in, they just walk through. The owner may not notice immediately, but the damage accumulates. Dry skin works the same way. I once treated a woman named Martha, 79 years old. She had no major chronic disease, but she experienced repeated skin infections that seemed to come out of nowhere. Each episode required treatment. Each one took longer to resolve than the last. Her skin had been dry for years, but it was never seen as a health concern, just part of aging. Over time, those repeated breaches weakened her overall resilience. What makes this particularly dangerous is how normal it feels. Itching is brushed off, flaking is expected, red patches are tolerated. Discomfort becomes background noise, but these are signals. Persistent dryness is the skin asking for support. It is the immune system signaling strain. It is the barrier announcing that it is no longer fully intact. When these warnings are ignored, the consequences extend beyond the skin. Infections become more likely. Inflammatory load increases. Recovery from illness slows. Sleep quality declines due to constant irritation. Longevity is not only about organs deep inside the body, it is also about the integrity of the boundaries that protect them. When the skin weakens, the entire system feels it. And this brings us to the most overlooked piece of the equation, the moment when protection can either be restored or lost entirely. There is a narrow window where the skin is most receptive to protection. Miss that window, and even the best intentions lose their effect. Aging skin behaves differently at this moment than it did decades earlier. Its ability to hold water is reduced, its repair mechanisms are slower, its tolerance for delay is lower. Moisture does not simply sit on the surface of the skin. It must be captured, sealed, and stabilized. When that process is delayed, water evaporates rapidly, taking heat and hydration with it. The barrier remains open. Inflammation continues. This is why timing matters more than quantity. When skin is still slightly damp, its outer layers are more flexible, more absorbent, and more responsive. This is when protective compounds integrate most effectively into the barrier structure. Once the skin fully dries, those pathways narrow. A useful way to picture this is weatherproofing a house. Protection works best before the storm hits and before cracks widen. Applied too late, even strong materials struggle to reverse the damage. I saw this clearly with a man named George, 74 years old. He hadn't changed his diet. He hadn't added supplements. He hadn't pursued new treatments. The only shift was in how his skin was treated around bathing. Over time, the itching eased. Redness diminished. Small wounds healed more predictably. His skin stopped acting inflamed. The body often responds quickly when the barrier is respected. This approach works because it aligns with the biology of aging skin rather than fighting it. Warm water limits lipid loss. Short exposure reduces barrier disruption. Gentle drying prevents mechanical damage. Immediate sealing stabilizes moisture and calms immune signaling. Even the rhythm of bathing matters. Skin needs time to recover. Constant disruption leaves no room for repair. Periods of rest allow lipid layers to rebuild and microbial balance to return. What makes this powerful is its simplicity. Nothing exotic, nothing extreme, just precise attention to timing, temperature, and restraint. When these elements align, the skin shifts out of defense mode. Inflammatory signals quiet. Sensitivity decreases. The immune system stands down from constant alert. And when the skin calms, the entire body feels the difference. This is not about perfection. It is about alignment, about working with aging physiology instead of against it. And that brings us to the deeper meaning behind all of this. Why gentle care is not weakness, but one of the strongest strategies for aging well. Aging well has never been about adding more pressure to the body. It has always been about removing the forces that quietly wear it down. This is something modern culture rarely acknowledges, but it was central to the thinking of Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara. He understood that longevity depends on preserving the body's natural defenses, not overwhelming them with constant correction. The body is not failing with age. It is becoming more sensitive to how it is treated. The skin is a clear example of this truth. It is often viewed as superficial, yet it is one of the body's most sophisticated protective systems. It regulates immune responses, limits exposure to pathogens, helps control temperature, and sends signals to the nervous system about safety or threat. When that system is respected, the body operates in a calmer, more efficient state. When it is repeatedly stripped, overheated, or chemically disrupted, the entire system compensates, and that compensation has a cost. Cleanliness has been confused with removal. Over time, this misunderstanding teaches the body to live in a state of low-level alarm. The skin tightens, inflammation increases, sleep becomes lighter and more fragmented. Small irritations demand constant immune attention. None of this appears dramatic, which is why it is easy to ignore. But aging is shaped by what happens quietly, not by what happens suddenly. Dr. Andrew Weil's emphasis on balance becomes especially relevant here. As systems age, they lose tolerance for extremes. What once felt invigorating can become destabilizing. Health in later years favors harmony over intensity. Gentle, consistent care supports regulation. Aggressive habits provoke reaction. Over time, the difference between the two becomes visible not just on the skin, but in energy levels, resilience, and recovery. When the skin barrier is allowed to remain intact, the body conserves resources. The immune system is not constantly activated. The nervous system receives fewer distress signals. Sleep deepens because the body no longer needs to remain alert. Even healing becomes more predictable because the foundation of protection is stable. This is why small, repeated choices matter, not because they are dramatic, but because they shape the internal environment the body must survive in every day. The bathroom is not a trivial place. It is where one of the body's most important defenses is either preserved or slowly dismantled. Gentle care is not indulgence. It is biological respect. It is an acknowledgement that longevity is supported by protection, not punishment. When the skin is treated as a partner rather than an obstacle, aging becomes less abrasive. The body settles, the systems cooperate, and time, while still moving forward, does so with far less resistance. The goal is not perfection, it is preservation. Protecting what protects you allows the body to age with steadiness, comfort, and quiet strength. Subscribe for calm, science-based aging guidance that protects your body every day.